Hey everybody, it's Jack and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a continuation of a series I started here on the channel a few weeks ago, where it's kind of an investing tips and tricks series where I go over different free resources that are online that I like to use to invest, as well as some different strategies and overall tools. In the previous video in the series, if you haven't checked that one out, I recommend going and doing so. I went over my favorite free online tools and resources and websites in order to find and search stocks. So how to find good stocks and different strategies. So whether that be dividend stocks or growth stocks. So today I'm going to be going over my favorite free online resources and tools to actually analyze stocks. So once you've found the stock that you're interested in and potentially want to invest into, what are some great resources and tools out there that are free to use that you can use and utilize to your advantage to help analyze and see whether that is a good stock to go with? Some of these tools and resources might be ones that you're familiar with or ones that you already use, but I'm just going to go through my process and how I use each and every one to its advantages and some of the things I like and different features that I like about them specifically. So I hope you guys find this video useful and are able to pull some helpful information in your investing journey. So let's jump right into the video and get started. The first free resource and tool to analyze a stock won't come as a surprise, as it's one that I feature on almost every single one of my videos, and it really is my first go-to spot when it comes to researching or analyzing a brand new stock that I'm thinking about potentially purchasing or just want to learn more about, and it is Yahoo Finance. We're currently looking at the main summary page when it comes to Yahoo Finance, and I'm currently looking at TD Bank or Toronto Dominion Bank, just as an example. This main summary page alone provides a great snapshot or overview of a company. You have the share price, the market cap, so how large of a company are we talking about? You've got certain evaluation metrics such as the PE ratio, so the price to earnings. At what multiple is the company currently trading at compared to its earnings or profit? You've got the beta, so how volatile is the stock, as well as the earnings per share. And then for dividend stocks, you also have the dividend yield and the annual dividend, as well as the ex-dividend date. You also have the 1-year target estimate for the share price. However, it's not totally accurate all the time, so I would be careful about using that as an indicator. And then you also have the super simple just chart on the right, where you can change the time frame to a month, a year, and really look at how the share price has been trading for that stock over certain periods of time. And as we scroll down this summary page, there's a lot more useful information within this page alone. You have news, so if you're looking for news on the company or certain articles that have been published, they'll pop up right here. And then on the right side of the screen, you can also see this is a very useful table, the people also watch table, and this provides other stocks that are usually competitors to the stocks you're currently looking at. So it's a really quick way, if you're into a certain industry, to quickly find the competitors in the space and be able to check them out. So you can see that for TD, you've got the other Canadian banks for the majority. And if you scroll down even farther, you have the earnings here. So right here, you get a good screenshot of whether or not the company has been meeting its earnings estimates or whether they've been missing them. So you can see that TD for the last 3 quarters has beaten estimates. And then back in 2020, it missed one. And then you also have a really nice snapshot as well of the financials of the company, so their earnings and revenue. So you can see whether or not their earnings and profit have been growing quarter over quarter or year over year, as well as the revenue numbers. So this is annual, so you can see 2020, 2019, and you can also change it to quarterly to see how their quarterly growth has been. So now if we go back up to the top, let me now dive into some more tabs that I find very useful for Yahoo Finance when analyzing a stock. The next one is the chart. So if you want a more detailed chart, you can actually look at a candlestick chart as well as throw up some indicators like your moving averages. I will go over this probably in a later video, how I use this and certain indicators I find useful on Yahoo Finance charts. But for now, I'm just going to quickly keep going through. The next tab is the financials. So if you want to look at the financials of the company in Yahoo Finance, you can actually do so. You can look at the income statement as well as the balance sheet and cash flow of the company. So you can quickly compare year over year whether or not the company has been growing its bottom line, its revenue, and income and things like that. So this is a great snapshot of, you can see that TD over the years has been growing its total revenue. So just like a really quick way to look at the company, see how its income statement has been doing year over year, all in one quick glance. So I definitely recommend checking this out. And then as well, like I said, you can see the total assets, the breakdown of the balance sheet. So the final tab I want to check out and show you when it comes to Yahoo Finance is the statistics tab. So this is a tab that has a whole bunch of information when it comes to the company or stock that you're researching. It might almost be too much information, but again, you've got the trailing PE, the forward price to earnings, the price to sales ratio, price to book. You've got all the ratios or metrics you could ever want when trying to evaluate a company. And if you scroll down where I usually like to look at, I also like to look at the share statistics of a company. So you can see on the right side here, you can see the percentage of the company that is held by insiders. So people, management team, and executives. So you can see that a company for like TD, it's very low, 0.07%. But if you're looking at a smaller growth stock or penny stock, you're going to want to make sure that the management team and executives behind the company are actually invested into the company and have skin in the game. So this is a quick way to see what percentage of the company is held by insiders, as well as just below that, you have the percentage held by institutions. So hedge funds and other ETFs and things like that. And then if you scroll on down, I'll let you explore, but there's much more information as well. Quick snapshot of the revenue, income statement, balance sheet, dividend, and stuff like that. So again, I urge you to Yahoo Finance is a place that really has it all. These are just a few of the areas that I normally check when I'm looking at a company or analyzing a company that I definitely recommend you do as well. Very useful information all in one place, Yahoo Finance. And this leads us nicely into the second free online resource or tool that I like to utilize when analyzing a stock. So let's hop into Wallmine. So the next free resource or tool that I use to analyze a stock on a pretty regular basis is Wallmine. Wallmine is what you're seeing on screen here, is almost too much information in one place. So looking at Wallmine, you can see a lot of the same information that Yahoo Finance has. Again, we're using TD Bank here as an example. Right at the top here, you have one of my favorite features of Wallmine. You can actually see the performance of the stock or company that you're researching in one place over different time frames. So you can see the 1 day performance, 5 day, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, and all time. So you can get a really nice snapshot all at once of how this company has been doing over these different time frames to see if they've been consistently growing, whether they're currently in a dip, and those kind of things to really analyze how the stock's been doing if you're trying to invest short term, long term, whatever it may be. And then again, you have a nice little chart here that shows some candlesticks. You can change the time frame, and you can actually see when the last dividend was on the exact day that the last dividend was paid. It has that information built into the chart, which is a nice feature. And then on the left side of the screen, you have all the metrics or information you could ever want when analyzing a company. And again, when you're first starting out, it can be a little bit too much information to handle, but over time, you'll really get used to it. Like you've got your dividend information right here in this section. And then on the left side, you have all of your revenue and profit and all that kind of information. This is just a great snapshot all in one place to see if there's any red flags for a company when you're analyzing it, or seeing if there's any, superstar numbers that stand out to you. So scrolling down, you actually have more information within Wallmine. You can actually see the news of the company, just like Yahoo Finance. But a nice feature here, you can actually see how the stock did that day when the news was released. So you can kind of see how the stock trades with respect to catalysts in the news, which can be a really useful information. And if you scroll down, there's even more information. You got a description of the company and what exactly it is they do. You've also got the compensation and how long the executives have been at the company, which can be a useful statistic. I don't use that a whole lot, but it is nice to see that someone's been at the company for a long time. It can help you feel more confident in a company for sure. And then scrolling down, you have your own table when it comes to dividends. So the ex-dividend date, when they last paid their dividend, the next dividend, the yield, as well as how the dividend has been growing over the years. So you can see that TD Bank has been growing its dividend for the past 5 years. And over the past 3 years, they've grown it at an annual rate of 9.79%. So their dividend has almost been growing at 10% every single year. And the same goes for 5 years, sitting at 9.23%. And then you can actually see the annual dividend that gets paid out on a yearly basis. So how much you'll actually earn every single year by holding one share of the stock. This table isn't always up to date because it shows that TD dropped its dividend in 2014. However, this is actually not true. They did a stock split. So for every one stock you owned, you now owned 2 stocks, but the share price was cut in half, as did the dividend. So the dividend was cut in half. So you didn't actually lose any dividend value because you now had half the dividend, but you had 2 shares of the stock. So they don't really encompass this within the chart, and they show it as a dividend drop. Even though technically the dividend did not drop, it actually continued to grow. So the 5-year growth period might not be totally accurate. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this information. But that's pretty much it for Wallmine. It has so much information on this site and it's totally free. I'm not signed in with an account right now, so I definitely recommend adding this to your tool belt when you analyze a stock. Wallmine has so much information in one place. So the third free resource and tool that I'm going to be covering is a lot different than the first 2 I showed, where they focus primarily on numbers and metrics to evaluate a company, looking at the revenue, profit, things like that. Now we're going to look at actually how do we analyze a company from the standpoint of what is their business model, What is their business strategy and plan going forward? How do the management team expect to grow the company? And what are they aiming to achieve? And what it is the company does. So this is super important and equally as important as the metrics of a company. So the resource I'm talking about is actually the official company website and looking at their investor relations page and primarily their investor presentation and slide decks. Any public company has to have an investor relations page where investors can go to learn information about the company and the plan for the future. So we're going to check out a growth stock that I'm currently invested into and really enjoy, and that's Greenlane Renewables. So if you just type any stock or any name of a company and then investor relations, you're going to get brought to the very first link, should be their investor relations page. So this is the investor relations page for Greenlane Renewables, a renewable natural gas company. And if you scroll down, almost every single investor relations page is very similar with the actual information they display. So you can see that here it has why invest in the company, what the company does, news releases, stock info, and then events and presentations, when the next financial reports are coming out and things like that. So somewhere on the page, you should be able to download an investor presentation, which can be very useful for any investor. So here on the page, it's just this corporate presentation link. And if you click to it, you'll see it actually brings up a PowerPoint presentation. And if the company is on top of things, it should be a very up-to-date presentation. So as you can see with Greenlane Renewables, this is actually dated April 2021. So it's very up to date. Of course, you don't want to be looking at a presentation for 2 years in the past or things like that. So again, this immediately goes into the company and what it is that they do, what their business model is. So they are changing the way the natural gas industry works by creating renewable natural gas alternative. So I recommend that any company you're seriously thinking about investing into, you go over and check out their investor relations page, download the presentation and give it a read through because it is very useful. You'll get to learn more about the company, what exactly it is that they do, and whether it's a company that you can stand behind and you can see growth in for the future. Jumping into the fourth and final free online tool that I recommend any investor checks out when analyzing a stock. This is a perfect tool for anyone who's looking to get up-to-date information on news releases or on financial statements of a company. Any public company has to submit documents to, if they're a Canadian company, the website is called SEDAR, SEDAR.com. And if they're in America or a US stock, it's EDGAR, EDGAR. These are two official sites where companies that are public have to submit their information. So SEDAR is the Canadian version, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat, the website looks terrible. It looks terrible. It looks like a caveman made this website, but that doesn't stray away from the fact that it's a useful tool. So if you just go to whatever French or English, I go to English. And then once you click your language, just go to search database. And that's going to go to look for company documents or investment funds. You can choose between the two. And then once you're at this page, you can just look up the industry, company name, the type of document. You can filter specifically for whatever you're looking for, whether it's financial report, news release, whatever it may be that you're looking for, you can filter. So I'm going to stick with the example I was just doing, Greenlane Renewables. So when you search, I just did a broad search. So I just searched the company name in general. It's going to bring you up all the information and all the official releases from the company. So you've got CEO filings, news releases, financial statements. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the annual financial statement. So you can see that the SEDAR website gives you access to year-end reports. And I'm looking at the balance sheet specifically. So there's the income statement as well. And this is a great free resource for anyone out there who's looking for official documents, whether it be financial reports, news releases, whatever it may be, on the company that you're analyzing and potentially going to invest in. So there you have it, some amazing free online tools and resources when it comes to analyzing stocks and learning more about a company. So that wraps up the video. I hope you guys found this informative. Hopefully you learned about a new tool or resource that you didn't already know about. Or if you did already know about them all, maybe you learned a new feature about one of them that you hadn't utilized previously and that you can maybe look into using into the future. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button. It helps the channel grow. It means a lot. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Lots more content coming your way, and I'll see you in the next one.